Welcome. Happy Valentine's Day. It is the February 14th, Sunday. We are going to begin here. Hope you all are having a lovely Sunday afternoon or evening. Hopefully it's not too snowy out. We're kind of snowed in here. We're going to get into it. We're going to go over some charts today, and though the market is closed tomorrow, looks like the futures are open. They are up. We have NQ is up 0.43%, ES is up 0.38%, YM is up 0.35%, RTY is up 0.72%. What an amazing opening. We'll kind of look at those. Actually, let's go over right now. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here. We'll look at some of the weekly time frames, and then we'll narrow down. We'll get into some stocks that we're going to be looking at. How's it going, Mark? We'll let some people get in here. I want to look at the bigger picture first, and then we'll start to go in and look at individual charts and what I'm kind of looking at this week. And then I would love to see what you guys have and what you're checking out this week. Hopefully we can all make some money. That's kind of the goal here. So bigger picture perspective, this is the futures. I just want to put it on the weekly time frame. In fact, let's zoom way out. Let's go out to let's go to a 10-year weekly chart. And instead of the EIS, let's go to the SPX. Bigger picture. Don't mind the vertical lines on the screen. That is, actually, we can remove those. Those are elections. They're no longer really relevant. So bigger picture, what you see on the screen is right here. I have this purplish box, fuchsia, purplish, whatever color this is. And these are the consolidation periods. If I back it out even more, I'll go to the maximum chart and the 1 month time frame, and then I'll kind of scroll back here. Let me try to do some, clean this up a little bit. I'll get rid of the elections. And what you kind of see here are the consolidation periods as I go back through here. And let's try this again. We'll do it. Maybe not. So consolidation periods, and each time you see here, it'll just go up into the next range. And what I kind of like to look at are these consolidation periods and what the market was doing. And back in here, I'll highlight this area right here. You had the dot-com bubble, and then you had the financial crisis. And so I know it's a pretty wide range, but hypothetically, this is all just a consolidation pattern, and then it breaks out to the upside going into 2009 through 14. And then, of course, the last bull market all the way up into, I believe, 2018. So if I zoom in a little bit more on that 2018 period, we could almost draw another box in here, right? And this is going to be the hard thing with trading is where do we draw these boxes? Are we calling these consolidation periods? Do you believe that it's a consolidation period? And if you do, great. If not, it's all in the eye of the beholder, really. How's it going, Super? Yeah, we'll take a look at Twitter. We'll get straight into it. Let some people come in here. So the question is kind of like right now, like, do we look at this period like it's a consolidation period and we've now broken out to the upside? Are we going to see another bull market run, another 10-year plus or 5-year plus bull market? Time will tell. We don't know when that price period is going to be. We don't know when we're going to come into it. What the chart is telling us, if you take all the fundamental things off the table for a minute, you take the virus off the table and all the inflation, all the deflation or inflation, all the macro, take everything off the table for a minute, currencies, and we just look at the chart in front of us and we ask ourselves, is this a breakout or is it not a breakout? And how are we trading the breakout? And this is where I kind of fail in trading, is that because what we have in memory is we have the coronavirus, right, crash. That's the most recent thing we have in memory. So it's hard to imagine that we are up at these prices. Now, do I think it's logical at this point that we see a pullback or some sort of meaningful 10% correction in the market? Yes, I do believe that that's possible, probably right around the corner in the very near future, but I don't want to call that before it happens. Again, that's the monthly time frame. Let's go down to the daily chart. And where are we exactly on the daily chart? We've broken out to the all-time highs, and we've really never looked back. It's a perpetual uptrend. coming into the $4,000 price range. Do I think we'll hit $4,000? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to hit 4,000. I'm kind of targeting that, eyeing that. Doesn't mean I'll short at that, but that's what I'm kind of looking at. And if we look across the board, this is the SPX. Let's go look at the SMH. Is it telling us anything different? Not really. Same thing, right? Transports, anything different? They actually did break down out of their wedge pattern and are now back testing the breakdown. So we'll see what happens with the transports. If we go over to, well, RSP is the equal 8. Biotech, near all-time highs. SPY, we just looked at all-time highs. IWM, you can't see it right now because it's after hours, but it's about to hit all-time highs. Pretty high on the chart. Does it mean I want to go long on long-term stocks? I don't know. Depends on the stock. What stocks are paying dividends? What sectors are we looking at? What are we looking at defensive or are we looking at tech? You know, and those are the things to consider. Where we think money's going to flow to. Even MJ is a pretty big boost here, right? Maybe got a little bit ahead of itself, pulling back here. But overall, the markets are very healthy. So do I think we're entering another bull market? I think we already have entered a bull market. Do I think that a crash or a correction is around the corner? Probably. I don't know if I'd call it a crash yet, but we can say that it's probable at this point that we do see a pullback, whether it's 10%. Some sort of meaningful pullback in the marketplace. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with everything. I've not entered in. I know I'm adding a little bit here and there. If you guys see on the Discord, I am adding a little bit more long-term positions. Most of them are dividends, or there's specific things I like about the companies. So that's it for that. Let's go over to the watch list, and I think we're on callouts, right? So I'm gonna go through here and delete these off the list. If you guys want these back on the list, just let me know and I'll put them back up. Some of these trades we are currently in, but that's okay. I want to get rid of these and start over. How's Valentine's Day, you guys? Are you guys stuck at home? Are you snowed in? And some of these you guys are going to recognize because I already had, you know, the trades that we've already taken, trades that we are currently in. And so Kios is one of those that we're currently in. I've closed some of the options down. Well, pretty much most of the options. I am holding shares. And so what I do see with Kios is I see a breakout. And we can begin eyeing these upper targets up here. First one I'm going to be eyeing is this gap. Well, we have some resistance to get through. 59.11, there's going to be resistance. Also up here at 70, let's call it 69.50. Somewhere in there, there's going to be a gap in here. And I don't know if it's going to fill that gap. I don't even know how high up we are going to get. But this kind of consolidation pattern in here, it is something to be mindful of, that this process back in here, and I'd really put it more down in this area. We've since then broken out of that. So if I look at this tightest range down in here where it was really consolidating, I know we just put in a 20% day, but this kind of consolidation breaking out of that above all three moving averages is extremely bullish, and I would like to see continuation. It's more of a matter of what does the continuation go to. We could measure down and say it's the width of the consolidation pattern. We will see. We saw the same kind of price action in Fubo. And in fact, let me go over there really quick. Actually, it's on the list, so we'll do Fubo next. Upside, looking for upside on that one. Let's go to Fubo next. This one I'm putting back on the list. We've been trading it off and on, and it kind of is hard to see on this. Now that I zoom in here, you can kind of really see it, but you saw this pretty crazy run up, right? And then you saw this movement back down here. And the movement back down is what had everyone concerned. It is a pretty sharp pullback, but it did get pretty far ahead of itself. So it was reasonable to expect a pullback. And you have to understand the psychology in traders' minds. In this period back here, a lot of traders thought that this was going to go back to 10 bucks. And, you know, maybe eventually it will. Who knows? But what I do know is there's a lot of psychology. Once it consolidated and then broke out of the consolidation pattern and put in a higher low, this candle right here is a little bit tricky because that is a reversal candle on the daily chart, and since then we've had a retracement about 70%, maybe 80% of the move. And the move I'm talking about, I'll put another highlighter in here, from this move down to here, if you looked at this as like a ABC pattern, maybe it does want to do that. You know, I don't really know, but this overall pattern here, we have higher highs, higher lows. For now, I want to count that as I don't want to count that as a high. I want to count it as just another higher high. The only thing is this candle right here. We did not take out the high up here. So that's one thing to be mindful of. However, I do like what it just did as far as it pulled back a little bit and then it created a higher high as opposed to Thursday's candle. So Friday's candle, it closed extremely bullish. I probably like to see a little bit of upside in Fubo. I don't know if it's going to take out these highs, but the longer it stays above this price, 43.50, the more likely it is to want to challenge these old highs. And for that reason, just by itself, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, Roscoe, we'll take a look at CRM. We'll get it on here. Let's look at EXTN. Let me go back to what I was saying though. This type of move from here where you had a run up and pull back pretty sharp, we see this a lot in a lot of the names. And so that's kind of what QS just did, right? Same kind of principle. It ran all the way up, sold off pretty hard. I mean, it was up there. I mean, it rallied in a matter of a couple of months. Let me put my little, I mean, what was it? Like a 455%. I mean, it pulled back pretty sharp and now it's starting to curl. So I'm looking for the same kind of price pattern. I don't know if it's going to get all the way up here again, and I don't really care. I just want to get part of the move if it does. EXTN is a new one for you guys. I don't know if I put this on Discord. Another one I'm looking at, I do like the weekly time frame. It looks like it's starting to curl here in the weekly time frame. We have to be mindful because every time traders thought that there was a bottom in here, it sold off pretty sharp and heavy. So we do have to be aware of that. But so far it looks good. This low down here at 345 does look pretty convincing on the weekly time frame. If I go to the daily chart, it's even more noticeable where you see this curling price action almost forming some sort of cut pattern. I do like that. I don't know about going long coming into Monday. We are pretty extended here as far as this last bull run from, I want to say, beginning of February till current price. The last 10, 15 days, it had pretty remarkable run. But from 323, and then you see a higher low, two higher highs, and then a final higher low. Will this become a higher high? I would like to see price get above that moving average and maybe do something like this, start to curl out a little bit, giving us an optimal entry. And then the problem with this kind of a run is you would need to put your stop loss somewhere down here where you would know you were wrong. And that price might be a little far away from current price. That's one thing to be mindful of and watch out for. I'm putting RKT back on the list. Let's go to the next one, RKT. SNDL, we will look at that. RKT, this price pattern is bullish. We keep talking about this on the videos. I'm definitely holding shares. This entire pattern in here to me is consolidation. You had a market bottom or where whoever they are, banks, traders, hedge funds, somebody is accumulating this one. And if you were going to be long, it's getting down to the price area where you could reasonably put a stop loss. And the first place I'd be looking as a stop is maybe around $19.90, somewhere in there. We could see a long wick down and then a shoot back up once it gets down to the $20 price area. Maybe it will want to whip out some traders. Can you guys see that color on the screen? Maybe we'll see a price candle move down here and then the buyers will show up. Maybe not all the way down there. Let's get reasonable here. Maybe it'll shoot down to this price support down here and then create some sort of candlestick in here. It looks more like a hammer candle. We'll see. We are coming down to that price there that you can be long, in my opinion, against the low of this breakout right here. And the breakout kind of did one of these where it broke out, and maybe it's back testing right now. So let's look for that one. RKT, Fubo. We looked at LAZR. And you guys know how much I love broad market, so we can look at those too. LAZR, I do like this price pattern. Obviously, well, maybe it's not obvious. To me, this is more bullish than it is anything else. It's above all the moving averages. A pretty wide range bullish consolidation. But for this one, what I would look for is a little bit more consolidation. I don't know if it's ready quite yet. Even if it does break out and shoot off to the upside, I'm not looking to take that kind of a breakout. I'm looking for maybe another pullback, another higher low compared to the one back here. Buy that breakout, take the breakout, and then putting a stop underneath this price down here. Again, that's pretty far away from current price, so I don't know if I'd go all in with, you know, a few hundred shares. Maybe just pick up a few shares and see if you get a breakout, but definitely looking for the higher low scenario. Okay, LAZR. And if it does break out, I'd probably be targeting all-time highs again, or whatever this price area is up here, maybe 46 bucks. ATOS. I don't necessarily like trading this kind of volatility. However, if I go to a lower time frame, I do like the last candle of the Friday's price action. We were actually stopped out of this trade, and or I was anyway. I know maybe one or two other people were stopped out of this one. That was a pretty scary drop off in the morning, like looking back on it. But overall, this price pattern is definitely bullish on the lower time frame. So this is the 15-minute chart. I'm seeing a bull flag play out in here. And I don't know why price got all the way back here. Maybe it just shook out the weak hands, and we're going to see what tomorrow brings. I think that, and tomorrow, I mean Tuesday, I think that it's logical at this point to really believe that this would probably consolidate a little bit more. But this price pattern, the fact that it's staying up in this area is pretty bullish considering where it just came from. So definitely consolidation. Let's see what tomorrow brings. If it does consolidate more, I think we could go ahead and draw a line across the screen up here around 360, 365, and say that if we saw a convincing breakout, maybe on this lower time frame, on a 15-minute time frame, see a pullback and a resumption, that would be good to, I think, start aiming the, first of all, the gap all the way up here around $4.25, and then of course up here around the 455, 460 price area. We'll see for that one. But this is another one I wouldn't want to go all in. I would want to just really manage risk on some of these because they could be a little bit volatile, a little bit risky. So, how's it going, Mike? Okay, so let's get into your guys' stuff. That's pretty much all I have for the charts. Of course, I have the broad market. We are currently in an SPY trade, and let's see what happens tomorrow. It was a pretty bullish day on Friday, pretty bullish close, closing back above this consolidation period. And what I want to zoom in on this is the SPY. What I want to kind of look at is when you see this consolidation here, and you see, you're watching for the breakout, and you could either draw it like this. That's one way to do it. Another way is you could draw a flag in here from this move up here. Let me clean up the screen. This is getting a little bit ugly. And let's zoom in so you guys can actually see it. And by the way, I trade the hourly time frame on the SPY, so let's do the hourly. And whatever you guys like to trade, go ahead and leave me a comment under the video what time frames you guys like to trade. So I don't have after hours on. So what we're looking at is you saw this move up right here, and then you saw this kind of flag pattern. And so what we were looking at Friday morning is sometime Friday, it broke out. And so we went long, and not necessarily a trade we want to hold over the weekend, but if you manage risk, lower the amount of contracts you were spending if you're trading options, and we don't need to get crazy with it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at for higher prices because we broke out above this and closed the day above this high. And I'm going to zoom in one more time and so you can see the high I'm talking about. This candle provided a lot of resistance, and we closed above that candle. And so because of that reasoning, I think the first thing we could do is we could draw a price area in this consolidation pattern and trying to target up here around 396. That's what I'm targeting right now, 396 SPY. We'll see if we get there. I have no idea. Some sort of black swan can come out tonight, and I'll look like a jack. You can fill in the blanks. Okay, so let's get to your guys' stuff. Okay, Twitter. Did it do it? I think you did it. Oh, it's beautiful. How did we miss this one? I know a few people that took this trade. I was not involved in this. I wish I was. Definitely run up into earnings, and then we had earnings. Beautiful chart, absolutely amazing. This is what I would say for something like this is I would say if you're already a bull and you're already in this trade, there's no reason to do other than just keep raising your stop loss up. And what I would do in this scenario is I would raise it to the prior day's low. So what I mean is once price gapped here, you could raise it up to the bottom of, or actually be the top of the gap, the bottom of this candle. We had another up day, so I would just raise it up again, another up day, raise it up again. You could start closing out the shares or the options as you go up. And of course, this is relative to what expiration date you're trading if you are trading options. And so I would that's how I'd be managing that one. As far as the risk to that, you could actually just go, if you're a long-term investor, there's no reason, you could honestly pull your stop all the way down here. There's no reason to just let the chart do its thing, let it be volatile. But if you are a swing trader in this, we're getting pretty steep. So don't be surprised if you do wake up one morning and you see price down 15% or 10% or even 5%. Yeah, you know what? Scratch the 15-10. Don't be surprised if you wake up and it's down 5%, maybe challenging this gap down here. You might see some consolidation and then it pulls back to the gap. That keep your eye on that. But if you're a bull, I would stay in the trade. If you're trying to go short, We don't have anything on the daily chart to present as a short trade setup, in my opinion. I mean, unless you're hedging, like, you know, the evidence isn't totally here necessarily for me as far as trying to step in front of it. I hope that wasn't a lot. Okay. Lawrence, CRM. So, Salesforce. I like this chart. I do like this chart. I wouldn't necessarily go long at this point right here because the question kind of remains right now is this creating a downtrend or is it just a pullback from the March lows all the way up here? Is it just a pullback? Because it kind of looks like a pullback, even though it's pretty wide. It's several months. You know, what is this, 6 months, 7 month consolidation? So is it a bull flag? Is it just a pullback? Or is it merely lower highs? Right? And these are the things we have to ask ourselves as traders. Are we looking at this on what time frame? What time frame are we trading it? The funny thing is this is still bullish on a daily chart. It's above all 3 moving averages, so it's hard to say that it's bearish. Now, you can trade these channel kind of patterns, whether you're looking at this as far as taking a short trade. You could try to scalp and look for some sort of short setup in here as far as knowing full well that this is a downtrend. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, is this an uptrend? And sometimes I want to get a little bit more clear. I'll move out to the weekly time frame to get a little bit better of a picture. Perpetual uptrend on the weekly time frame. But yes, I believe that a little bit more consolidation is in order for this, just looking at the weekly. Maybe we'll have a little bit more in here. Keep in mind on the weekly time frame, this will remain bullish until it falls below 20. Wait, where'd my cursor go? 205.15. Price could trade above 205.15 and remain bullish in bullish consolidation on the weekly time frame. But narrowing it down here, is there a trade in here as far as going long? Because of the last several days, and what I mean by that is from 115 till current price, that's a pretty extensive move. We're already up 13.5%. For a company like Salesforce, is a pretty big move. I know these ones back here were. But I would personally like to see some sort of consolidation. We know the gap was already filled probably. This is the gap I'm referring to right in here. We know that was probably already filled. We're coming into a little bit of resistance. If we can get through this price area, and I'm going to give you a price on that, basically above Thursday's high. If we can get above Thursday's high, we would probably be targeting all the way up here, maybe 251 resistance, and then of course up here 265.59 resistance. But there's also going to be resistance in this consolidation pattern you see right up here, more specifically this consolidation here, and I'll put it in a different color. I hope I'm not talking really fast. There's definitely going to be resistance in this area right here, right? So it kind of makes you wonder, like, you know, yes, it's a bullish chart, but at what price are we willing to apply risk and where would we put our stop? We are kind of in an uptrend from 115s, and we are making higher highs and higher lows from 115 as far as this time frame in here. But is this an area to go long right underneath resistance, or would it be to wait until we get above resistance? And I don't mean you have to wait till we get above, 260, but in theory, would it be better to wait until we get above resistance to go long? Just two things to kind of consider. By the way, Lawrence, I watched your YouTube videos. Amazing, I love it. And I hope it's Lawrence and not another person's YouTube. Motivational. Okay, post that link in the comment section. Feel free. SNDL. Okay. Again, another one of those things that I wish I missed. I know a lot of people that took these trades. I know a lot of people that were in SNDL or still are. And they're kind of the trades that I wish that I was in and never got into. So well done if you made money on this one. I like to go out when it's a little bit unclear. And by that, I mean, yes, we're in an uptrend, especially from 14 cents to current price. We're in an uptrend. And by the way, so that's 1,500. Current price is 1,454% from November. So that's something to be mindful of and consider, which is probably another reason why people took profit up here around 2,700% in a matter of a few months. That's something to be mindful of. And it doesn't mean it can't keep going higher. It is a nice little pullback. We just have to put it on, is this an area we would want to apply risk? And like I've said before, in my opinion, the way to manage that risk, the way to manage it is to lower, don't buy 1 million shares, buy a 250,000. Be very careful when you're taking these trades. And so on a weekly time frame, we have to be mindful of it is in a clear and obvious downtrend other than since November or since August, October, September, somewhere in there, November. It is in a clear downtrend other than November. We have to ask ourselves, how did it go from $13 down to 14 cents? Most likely public offerings, but let's just say we don't know. But it is in a downtrend. Other than this last spike, is this a bottoming pattern overall? Is this a company I want to invest in over the long haul? Or is this something I want to just do a quick swing trade in and out of? It looks like people are taking profit. I would be more inclined to say, you know what, let's let people take profit and let's try to get a better price. Maybe $1.33 is a better price. Maybe $1.28 is a better price. Let other traders step in and try to buy this thing. And I don't know, let's see after hours. The bid is 204, the ask is 205. Now I wouldn't short a stock like this because not yet anyway. I'm going to give it a little bit of background on this. Just like we did the GME short, I would personally wait for, if you're not already in the short trade off of this high, using that high as the risk management, meaning you took a short trade and you took it all the way down to this price, and you can stay short until price gets back above $4, say, right? That is an area that you could say, you know what, I'm going to stay short until we get above that, because this, after all, is a reversal candle on heavier than normal volume. It's at 3 million volume almost. The next day, in this run up overall, is this capitulation to the upside? I mean, this kind of volume. Mind you, I don't know anything about this company. It's just something I want you to consider as far as something you can kind of consider if you're going to go long or short. Just keep these things in mind, maybe without the news and without social media, just looking at the chart, like what does it tell you, right? This is just a little bit of evidence that this could be, in the grand scheme of things, an optimal short trade. But the other thing I'm going to say is, while I say that in the same breath, I'm going to say we're above all the moving averages and we're in an uptrend. It got a little bit ahead of itself and now it's just pulling back a little bit, giving us an optimal place to go long. Where would I be a buyer if I was going to buy this name? The first thing I want to look at is previous areas of resistance. One was right here and one is right here. You could say this is one right here a little bit, but I would more be inclined for the first one, right? So let's take the first ones off the screen. Let's just do this. You could draw a line going across this way, another one across this way. This is, and then you could say, you know what, there's a gap in here, so I'd want to wait for a gap fill, because maybe that's what it wants to do. It wants to pull back to a gap fill. Those three areas, just looking at the daily chart, that's what it looks like it's trying to do. It looks like it just got a little bit ahead of itself, and now it's pulling back. And out of all three of these areas, I think the most support you're going to find is right here, because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of consolidation in here. So it's not every day that you're going to see price shoot right back through that area. So those are all three things to look at as far as price wise. Let's go down to the hourly chart. Now, in the hourly chart paints a little bit different of a picture. So we looked at the weekly, we looked at the daily. Hourly chart looks like the chart is curling a little bit, and an argument can be made. An argument can be made that this candle right here found support at a previous gap fill candidate, right? Found support there, it rallied and is creating a bull flag. And if it did play out, maybe it wants to fill that gap. And the gap I'm talking about is this gap in here. And I apologize if I'm talking fast. Rewind the video if I'm going really fast. So if I'm a bull in this trade right now, I would be using the stop loss of this right here. Right, which is, I'll give you a price of that. Price is $1.77. If I'm looking to go long, what I would do is I would set it somewhere in here, either at the opening of yesterday's day or at the high of yesterday, which was Friday, at that high, right? Maybe around 227. If it can start clearing 227, it can get above that resistance, then you could start targeting these upper areas around 315, 340. So you have a pretty tight range in here that is optimal area. But if I'm not in this trade right now, I'd want it to pull back more down to the 138 or whatever areas we talked about. What did we say again? Let's go to the daily. So I would be eyeing, if I'm not in this trade right now, I want to see prices try to get back above the opening of Friday or the high of Friday. Because if they do get up into this red candle, what they're going to do is they're going to start getting pulled up the red candle. It'll become like a self-fulfilling prophecy as it'll start getting pulled up. What's up, Super? So again, but if I was really wanting to trade this thing, I would want to see lower prices, 129, and get greedy about it, 106, 129, you know, but I don't know if it'll ever get down there again. I'm just saying if I wasn't in the trade right now. Makes sense? Now watch, tomorrow it'll be at $15. Okay. CCIB. Thank you for that chart. I appreciate it. And I meant to have that on there too, because I saw a lot of people take that trade. CCIB, and my YouTube's giving me crazy warnings. Why does it do that? I don't know why it does that. Okay, no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be as, you know, I'll try to help out as much as I can. I'm not in these trades. I'm just a neutral party looking at them. I'll tell you if I am, but it's just neutrally, what do I see in the chart? I don't know anything about the company fundamentals, so, and you know, but yeah, no problem. What are we looking at here? What did we just put it on here? CCIB? Oh yeah, CCIB. See, how come I miss these? Somebody tell me how I'm missing all these. We kind of went over this, not CCIB, but we went over these consolidation patterns, right? We talked about consolidation. They act as support, or can act as support. We also talk about these candles right here where they, oh, I'm drawing that the wrong way. We talk about these candles right here, how that the bottom of that can act as support. Plus you have this consolidation pattern in here that also can act as support. So the price really could come down to this level and be held up. I don't know if it will be, but it could come all the way down here and still be bullish, right? Which is a pretty wide range, right? Now, if I was in this trade, the same thing would apply, but because it's such a wide range, and depending on how many shares I had or how many, I don't know if we can trade options on this one, but probably can. At some point you might see a pullback. You know, we're up 322%, which isn't really mean a lot. I mean, it can go to $100, but you can't, I don't think it's possible to put price I think it's unrealistic to put price targets on things, companies that we have not done our own due diligence on as far as fundamentals. I don't know anything about CCIV other than I think there's a merger or something to do with that. But so it's hard to give an upside price target. One thing we can do is we can limit risk by keep raising our stop loss up. And so let's just zoom down to the hourly. There's the hour, or there's a 2 hour. Let's go to the hourly chart. And so you can see higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. One day we'll wake up and this chart will be down, but what you can do is at each higher low, just raise your stop loss, right? Just keep raising your stop loss. So the next one, maybe you could say is 34.35, but that's relative again to how many shares do you have? How much money do you have invested? Just got to be careful and be mindful of that. Bullish chart, don't see any reason to short it yet. And I also would want to see a pullback before I personally would go long, or that, you know, whenever you got in, if you got in on that breakout, well done. I mean, I would have gone long also on that breakout if I saw it, if I wasn't busy. Canada markets give us direction on Tilray. Let's check out Tilray. I mean, we've been in MJ since 11:30 or 11:50 or whatever it was posted in the alert section of the Discord, and I don't mean we've been at the whole time. I don't know, you know, that would have been nice, but a lot is going on with these. You know, what direction are they going? Where are they headed? I think overall the long haul, because of politics, I believe there is still a lot of upside to a lot of these companies. But I personally wouldn't go. I don't know a lot about the individual companies, but I'm personally more interested in investing in the ETFs and something a little bit more safer than just one of the companies by themselves, which is, you know, you see this pretty hefty pullback. Shorts got squeezed, they got burned. Now we're down 57% in a matter of 3 days. Kind of saw the same thing in GME. They don't usually end well. This is the weekly time frame. You saw the short squeeze back here in 18, right? And so the chart is curling. Good place and time to get in. Just keep in mind on the weekly time frame, you do see a reversal candle that can usually lead to lower prices, but it also doesn't mean that the price can't come do a retracement up that reversal candle. But if it did come up to the top of that reversal candle, I would personally be looking for a short trade using the high of 60. Oh, let's see here. using the high of $64.65, somewhere in there. But with this kind of action, I don't know if it's something that we would want to step in front of to the short side. You're probably more likely to make money if you're going long. And again, just like the other companies we just looked at, some of the areas that you could look at for possible entry are these periods of consolidation, which we just had on Friday. But I think that it still looks like it could come down a little bit more. You know, maybe it does want to come down and wants to fake out more people. It's a little bit too easy if we just were able to get in long here. I feel like it'd be a little bit too easy. But it doesn't mean it can't turn around on Monday and start rallying from here. It just means, where do we want to apply risk, and at what price will we put our stop loss to minimize risk while giving us a profit potential of potentially $55. Because again, if it starts getting up this red candle, we'll probably be targeting $55. Hope that wasn't a lot. Is that too much? Am I giving out too much here? Again, I'm neutral. I don't have a position. Thank you for the chart. BIOL. Let me know if you have any more questions on that one. Okay. So we're getting closer in this one on BIOL. We're getting a little bit closer to that area of the chart that the price likes to, it's almost like a magnet where the price likes to just keep coming back to that area. You can kind of see it where its value is, right? You can see it doing one of these things, and now it's heading right back up there. If we can clear that resistance of $1.50 or around $1.50, I would personally be looking for a long trade, especially after consolidating for the last couple weeks. We are getting a little bit extended though, as far as that's the weekly time frame. Let's go to the daily. That's a pretty hefty move on the daily chart. Again, bullish above all the moving averages. Is this kind of volatility something that you can purchase with ease? I think it would take a little bit of patience and practice. I think you could possibly see more upside. Again, if we can get another pinch up to $1.50, maybe you'll start to see this kind of curling action. As far as short trade, I don't think it's necessarily on the table yet, unless it gave us a pretty clear and evident sign that it was shortable. You could draw another trend in here. If I went to a lower time frame down to a 1 hour chart, you could do something like this. Now it makes it a little bit more easier to trade, right? We keep pulling back to this trend. Something a little bit more easy. So maybe if it did do something like sideways action and then started to take off, you could go long, and maybe you could draw in here some sort of flaggish or bullish consolidation pattern. I like the chart. Again, stop loss 119, you know, if you're in this trade right here. But again, that's relative to whenever you got in. SNDL 1 billion volume. Was it? Oh, it is 1 billion. Well, 2 days ago, so Thursday's volume was 3 billion. What did I say before? 3 million? 3 billion on Thursday. This to me is more capitulation. You know, it's nice to say you were already in this. You know, if you're already in from 79 cents or, you know, even $1.25. But to step in after this kind of a red candle is, to me personally, for my kind of trading, it's a little bit scary until we get that curling action we have seen in the other charts. Like if it does something like this, then it becomes a little bit easier to be a buyer. So just be careful. Be careful with some of these, is all. Zynga. Okay. I like it. I like it. Weekly time frame looks good. You can kind of do, it starts getting steep if you start doing this, but you can kind of do that. Starts getting a little bit steep. We are getting a little bit steep. But I do like this price action. I do like it is bullish on the larger time frame, which is something that's good. And sometimes a lot of people overlook that. First thing that catches my eye is this, which is also healthy consolidation. And we saw this in another chart recently. What was it that we were looking at earlier? Was it CRM? Maybe it was CRM. Let me see here. Same kind of see the consolidation. So yeah, I mean, would I be willing to go long here? Again, some of these momentum plays aren't for me personally, but it doesn't mean you can't be long and the trade is your own. You could go to a lower time frame like the hourly chart, and you saw this pattern where it breaks out through here, and then it broke through this horizontal resistance area, and then it has taken off. This was the optimal area to go long, in my opinion, right here after it broke through resistance and then came back and found support. Now we're entering an area of, well, we could be buyers at each higher low. But where would you put your stop loss? And something like this, if you went long here, your stop loss would probably go down below this next pivot. And so judging that distance, if we said that distance is 51 cents, how many shares can you buy to make it worth the trade up to a certain dollar figure? And let's say we were targeting $12.27. That only gives you an upside potential of 78 cents. So you're at a risk versus reward of like 50 cents to 73 cents or 75 cents. Or if you're in it for the longer haul and you managed to make it work out and you go to a weekly time frame, we're at all-time highs. So it's up to you if you want to take this kind of momentum trade. Just be mindful of where you're getting in and where you are putting your stop loss. But nothing wrong with this chart. It's absolutely bullish. Sends. Let me know if you have any more questions on that one. I definitely wouldn't short. I mean, it doesn't look like a short trade setting up. You guys know how much I love my short trades. And the thing is like all these charts are amazing. They're just for my kind of trading. I'm not a momentum trader. And though I would love to say that I was in this one and I would have recognized these patterns that you can kind of start to see here, and then you see the breakouts, they are definitely trades that I think are worth taking. But at a certain point, you're going to see a hefty pullback. It's just, when is that going to come? One of these dips that we think are dips that we're buying is not going to be a dip. It's going to be the actual turn. And so where are we putting the stop loss? How are we managing risk? Then for me personally, it would be a little bit more appropriate. But with that said, you have incredible upside potential, especially on the lower time frames. And you saw this breakout through here. That was your optimal entry, putting a stop loss even underneath consolidation and letting the trade play out. Now it kind of did it again, where you had this breakout, put in bullish consolidation, broke out again. You put your stop loss down here. So for me, I would like to see some sort of a pattern developing here where it was kind of building up energy, where I could actually take a dip and feel comfortable and confident and not put so much money on the line. I love these charts though. Thank you, Darren. Uber. So Uber we purchased a long time ago and wish we held. Absolute phenomenal chart. I do like taking these short trades off these reversal candles. The only problem with them, and I don't know if you're going long or short, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, you have a reversal candle here, a reversal candle here, and then you have this most recent reversal candle. So for me, I do like taking those reversals, but I prefer waiting for a retracement, meaning I like to see price come back and test somewhere close to the high to give me a good place to gain entry. The problem with something like Uber is it's in a pretty good uptrend, so would it be worth the risk going to the short side? And I don't know. But as far as going long, again, I would want to see it come down to support. And for me, that support could either be, for me, it's really hard for me to draw a pattern on this chart, but I see this pattern in here, which doesn't help me at all because it's not clear where the support is. I would have to say, just looking at the daily chart, there's probably going to be support down here near this gap. So if it ever did get back down here, for me, that would be a good place to go long. I don't like buying high and selling higher, and that's kind of where I feel like with a lot of these names, not just Uber, but in general in the market. If I go down to the hourly time frame, I zoom in just a little bit here, I can hopefully begin to see other patterns that develop. And again, it looks a lot simpler of a trade when you're on the hourly chart, maybe around $50, or the gap fill candidate around, or the gap support, gap window support around $55, $56. To me, that would be an optimal entry. So you have this down move, maybe it'll consolidate, and maybe it'll have one more down move to $56, but it doesn't mean it will. We can always find support right here and start trading higher. I just would not be personally interested in going long unless I had a better price, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to knock it. I love Uber. So if it gave me the price that I'd personally be looking for. Thank you, Matthew. Man, you guys are loading it up today. TXMD. We love this charts. What are we doing tomorrow? Since we're not trading, are we gonna what are we doing? What's the game plan? Watch the futures all day? Is Duck in here? Duck trades the futures, right? Okay, so TXMD, these are the ones that I'm a little bit more interested in because I know it looks like it had quite the move. I mean, it did. I mean, we're talking about $1.16. It's around 138%. But I like these spike ups. Now I like to let it consolidate and I look for the next spike up. Can it keep running? Most likely. It can absolutely keep running, but we just had a major reversal candle a few days ago on Wednesday. Thursday confirmation, Friday consolidation. So let's see what happens. We are coming into the first moving average, which is the 20-period moving average. And if I tighten it up a little bit like this, it makes it easier to see. You have an uptrend right through here. And, you know, I would want to see it come down just a little bit more, maybe find support at this last pivot low. And if I go to lower time frame, let's try the hourly chart and try this one more time. It looks like bearish consolidation on the hourly as you start to see the end of the day started curling down in here. The question remains is this a low? Is that low right here adequate? Is the market happy with it? And I can see why it was support. Or is that just intraday support and we're going to come test this again? One thing I can tell you for sure is the more times that it tests that support, the more likely it is not going to hold. And if I was not in this trade, I would be eyeing more this gap down here. I'll give you reasoning behind this. You have a gap fill down here. You have this reversal candle right here, which is really hard to see on your guys' screen. Not just a reversal candle, but price immediately shot away from that area. Telling me, since it hasn't been there in several, probably 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks, somewhere in there. If it can shoot down here pretty fast, I would love to be a buyer at that area, personally, looking for a bounce with the stop loss just below that last breakout area, right? That last pivot low. And by the way, you guys can let me know if you're no, you know what? Don't even let me know if you're going long or short. I don't want to know. I want to try to be that voice of, if you're long, I want to like try to help show or guide the opposite side of the trade, right? Because you want to know both sides. You don't want to, you know, when I'm trading, I don't want to go into it one side and then not be fully aware of the counter trade, right? Yeah, no problem, Mike. OEG. How's it going, Audrey? Why does that sound familiar? OEG. OEG. We are a team, by the way. There's no I in team. Remember growing up. Love the chart. Absolutely love the chart. I do want to see a little bit more consolidation. I know it's consolidated for a couple weeks here, but let me go to a weekly time frame and kind of just give a perspective on where we're at. It ran from 45 cents all the way to $11. So we have to be aware of, and that's from September of 20. Yeah, September of 20. Just be mindful, 2,600%. Now, again, percentages don't mean everything. It just means in a short amount of time, we can expect consolidation or pullbacks. The thing that this chart has that a lot of the charts we looked at tonight, the thing that makes it the most bullish thing is when you see consolidation in time, right? Here's the time versus on the right side of the screen, you see price. When you see a chart rally and then consolidate in time and not price, is more bullish than if it retraces in price. Does that make sense? Just normally when I'm really normally that's what it means. So this price action is extremely healthy, right? You've had several weeks in here. It's clearly giving you the support and resistance, which is why I like this. This is consolidation. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. You'll see it tighten up, and you'll start to see it do like this little higher low, higher low, higher low. Let it knock on the door and let it try to break out. Highest risk or highest probability, lowest risk trade setup there is. This is a bull flag. Where can we target it? Well, let's wait. Let's get closer to that point. But first thing is you could target around $11, right? $11.20, $11. That's the first target if it breaks out. Now you could be a speculative in here and say, you know what? When it breaks to the downside, I could go ahead and pick it up, accumulate it, or pick it up as it dips below. And you can, if you're extremely patient with that process. It can take quite a while for that to happen. And so that's the first thing I'd be looking for. You could try to be a dip buyer in here and buy the lows. Just options might be a little bit trickier if there are options in this one. Options will be a little bit trickier, but with enough time, if you buy leaps or if you buy option contracts that are out 6 months, that might be a little bit easier. But if you're buying shares, you can accumulate them. Just know what price you're willing to close the trade if you're wrong. You know, where are you going to put the stop loss to manage risk? That's a pretty wide range in there, but it's worth the trade when it breaks out. So I love the chart. Thank you. Look at this. Look at all these callouts you guys have this week. Airbnb. How are we doing on time? We could run for a couple more minutes before I need to get going here. But okay, so Airbnb. And you know, we love these IPOs. We've been doing pretty well. We took an IPO trade on Friday, posted in the Discord in the premium option alert. So Airbnb, this is why I like to let them kind of do their thing. You'll see these things come out of IPO, and we don't need to be the first ones in. Remember the first couple days of this IPO, people were getting a little bit crazy with it, you know, buying incredible amounts of shares that they really didn't need to. I think we even took a few trades in here, maybe on this breakout. We can let the chart kind of tell us what it wants to do, right? Let it consolidate, let it do its thing. So far, so good. And if you are in this trade buying these higher lows, I think you can continue doing that. As far as a bigger picture, longer term investment kind of a strategy. However, it's gonna start getting up here to a price that maybe the market's not gonna like so much. Maybe the broad market is gonna correct one day. We'll wake up and the SPY is gonna be down 5%. Those kind of days are the days we have to be really careful about buying the dips. So far, until that happens, it's a bullish chart. I just don't know if I'd necessarily go long in here at this price. Let me go to and there's a huge difference in, just because it's bullish doesn't mean we should buy it. But I love Airbnb for the long-term investment strategy. But as far as swing trades, I would like to see a better price. I think this last higher low that we just had, the most recent ones were really good prices. In fact, you could do something like this and say, even if you got it for this, even if you let it pull back a little bit closer to 200, say, you know, but it doesn't mean it can always keep going higher. It can always break out and keep going higher. And I don't foresee this thing pulling back. I'm just saying if it does, it would provide a good buying opportunity. Okay, where are we at? LOL work. Work, like, is that a ticker, or work like we have work to do? Let's see. I'm curious now. Was that WeWork? By the way, when is WeWork's not IPO'd yet, right? Oh, it's Slack. Oh, duh. So you can see I have all these lines. Don't worry about these. This was from a long time ago. So amazing chart, you know. And I don't know. It's like the thing is okay. So, bull flag. Now, it doesn't mean the bull flag is going to play out to where you're going to see another move that wide, you know, 84%, $20, right? But it would be interesting to see this play out another $20. What would that yield? $20 is, oh wait, it's not even on my screen. Let's do it from the bottom of the channel, bottom of the bull flag. $20 around $61. But the reason why I like this, and you're probably talking about the same kind of consolidation period, right? We could let it play out. But it is kind of curling here. It looks like it's knocking on the door. If I do one of these things and I zoom in like this, you can kind of see it curling in here. Here's the breakout, and now it's curling like this. So it's looking like it wants to challenge those. And if this was some sort of reverse split, let me know. But yeah, as far as the bull flag pattern, I think it's definitely possible. I don't know if I'd be trying to get full $20 out of it, but maybe you can get $50 out of it. But this kind of consolidation pattern is worth taking. This amount of days in a consolidation pattern is definitely worth taking it. And like we were saying, the time aspect of trading sideways instead of pulling back in price is more bullish than the pulling back in price, in my opinion. CTRM. Did we already go over that one? Yeah, I mean, this is another thing, is like, I don't want to tell somebody, like, if I say it's too late, it's going to go to $3. If I say it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say, like, I don't know what's going to happen. What I can say is, if you're in the trade, it's extremely if you're in the trade, it's extremely bullish. Is this a good place to jump into it? I don't know. And that's where your risk, that's all relative to how much you're willing to spend and how much you're willing to risk. Because the risk in something like this, in my opinion, is more to the downside. But again, it doesn't mean we can't wake up tomorrow and be at $3. So after hours, it looks like the bid is 147, 148. It's close to where it closed at. But again, it was Friday. Let's go to the hourly time frame. Hourly's looking pretty good, right? And so it's getting pretty high up here on the chart. What it looks like to me, though, is it looks like this is a bear flag. You have this gap down, and then you have it trade sideways. So maybe it wants to do one more gap down to fill this gap, and I'll highlight the gap because this makes sense to me. Highlight the gap, and you have consolidation in here, so it makes sense that this is support, and you have a moving average in here. But the question remains is, would it stop there? I think it would stop there for a trade, long enough for a trade, but would it be good for an overnight trade or a swing trade? If I'm looking for a swing trade for something like this, it would be most likely down underneath $1. You know what? Let me take that back. Let me take that back. It would probably be close to $1 in this one if I was going to take it for a swing trade, but it might never ever get down to $1. And that's where we have to use our judgment as traders, is like, okay, do I really want to wait for it to get all the way back down to $1? That's a pretty hefty move off of where it's at right now. That's another 30%. So off the highs, we are down 24. Maybe $1. Maybe I will keep that the entry price for a swing trade. But it doesn't mean it has to do that, you know. It could really do anything. I don't think this first candle is it, though. I think it's going to put in lower prices. That's just my opinion. It just is what the chart looks like. And it doesn't mean that it would be bearish. It just means that there's profit taking going on. And I'd want to see that profit taking fully out of the picture and let it consolidate. Okay. Where we at? Oh, you have to work tomorrow. Hey, work was a good call out. I'm supposed to work tomorrow if I'm not snowed in, too. Yeah. JD. Look at JD. Okay, we'll do a couple more, and then I think this is, well, actually, you know, let's just make this the last one. If you guys are good, let's make JD the last one. Yeah, Audrey. Sometimes I feel like you have to have a stomach to, stomach of steel to swing trade some of the more volatile charts. Yeah, and I think it's just not for me. And some people are able to do it, and I'm jealous sometimes because they'll post the profits in the profit section, and they're up, 15 grand or something overnight. But for me, I don't like trading I like trading a certain style, and it doesn't mean that it's wrong or that it's right or that it's, all it means is it's what I'm good at, and we have to find what we're good at in trading. And so if you aren't good at swing trading, or I'm not good at day trading, or whatever that scenario is, this is, I think, a big mistake a lot of traders make, is they come into trading thinking that they could just duplicate what somebody else does, and it's not always the case. Like when we play on a soccer team, some people are good at midfield, some people are good at forward, some people are good at defense. So it's what we're good at, and it's being able to identify and find the strengths, and understanding full well what our weaknesses are. And you know what, the momentum trading is definitely one of my weaknesses. Okay. So, okay, so JD, long term, I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced on some of these names. We don't know a lot about the company. There's a lot of reasons why I'm not overly committed to a lot of these names. You guys know how I feel about Neo, and definitely love taking the trades when they're available. But as far as long-term investing, like, do I want to be buyer at these current prices? And JD, I put kind of in the camp of, it can run to 1,000. It really can. It has the potential to run to 1,000. But shorter term, as far as taking trades, I think that JD we've done pretty well with JD this year. I think that, or since the March lows anyway, we've done pretty well with JD, and I think that we can continue it. We can continue doing well. It looks like it's on a bit of a squeeze up or momentum going to the upside. It definitely is powerful in that aspect. Is this a good buying opportunity? Maybe if we see a breakout well above, let's say it gets above $100, is that a good place to go long? You can just keep in mind of where that last stop loss would go, whether it's under this pivot around $90 or under this one at $80. This last move, what is it, maybe 20%, right? So 26% this last move. So, this is the weekly time frame. Let me go back to the daily, where it looked like a. So that's something to just kind of be mindful of, is like where we're at in the chart. I personally would like to see a little bit of consolidation with JD. Is this a double top? As far as if I'm going to attack this to the short side, is this a double top? I don't think so. I think it would have to break below this $90 pivot for this double top to actually be a thing. And look, I made a little face. For this double top to actually play out, I think that it would need to break the neckline of what that's being called, and then you can do a measured move, down. But to the upside, I would personally want to see a little bit more either consolidation in time, staying around $100 like we saw in AMD recently, or I would want it to pull back, or pull back in price and just build up a little bit of energy and burn off some of the steam. It's been on quite the tear this last year, so just something to kind of consider. I'm going to put it on the list so for the watch out. And do me a favor, guys, if you have an alert this week, feel free to post it. If you're not a member of the Discord, join it. There's a free side of the Discord where we do post free alerts. I'll try to get out more free alerts to you guys. And then of course there's a premium side, which by the way, we lowered the cost of the membership is lowered now. It's a little bit more than half of what it was. So anyway, so I think that's it for the video. If you guys have, let's see here. Let me just catch up on the comments really quick, and then we'll get off of this. Where did you learn all of his version? If you don't mind me sharing that knowledge. So should I do a video one day on all the info? So I learned in 2010, but I didn't start trading until probably 17. I mean, I was trading like paper trading and learning and paper trading, but it was like 16, 17 in there. And yeah, the Discord link is should be underneath the video. And any of the videos, the Discord link is under the video. And I'll try to post it on after this. But what really changed my trading is YouTube. Like, I have a list of guys that I religiously watched for a really long time on YouTube, and that was a game changer. And all either post, I'll do a video on it and I'll kind of give you guys the list of people, but it's everyone from like David Frost with My Strategic Forecast to even Jordan, I forget his last name, he does crypto, he does a lot of crypto. I even listen to, there's like talk show people that I listen to, and the thing is not getting involved too much in their, like, forget their politics or forget their, yeah, we know they're very bullish on the market and they're going to always be bullish until the market's not bullish anymore. And there's a lot of guys who are extremely bearish, like the Bond King. I watch the Bond King, and I'm not saying he's extremely bearish on the market, but he sometimes, like, you'll watch someone on YouTube and you'll realize that, like, they're not talking about trades that you can take this week. They're talking about big picture time frame kind of stuff. And then there are some traders that are like, yeah, this market's never going to roll over, which is not true. We know it's going to roll over. It's just a matter of at what price level and when. So I could go on, but point is that there's a lot of guys that what was the query? There are a lot of people that I've learned from this market, and I'll put out a video on like who I've listened to. I think that's it, guys. If you have any more questions, feel free, send me a message in the Discord. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the likes. And we will see you guys in the trading week and in the next video.